Hi guys, Sasha here. Welcome back to Creative Frenzy. Okay, today we are going to make a tall, skinny, very skinny. It's only, let's see, like 3.5 inches wide and about 5 inches long. So I'm just using some packaging. I wanted to put some of my jelly prints into a different sized cover. So that's what we're doing. Anyway, so I'm just taking some packaging. I am just making sure that I'm lining everything up nice and neatly. Oh, that took a bit. I'm not really overly concerned if things are straight or, you know, I'm a little bit concerned, but I'm not trying to make a masterpiece here. All I'm trying to do is make a cover for my jelly prints, right? So that's all we're going to do. Now, if you find something like this, it's too wide, you can always slit it in half and then connect the two together. And I think I might do that. Well, I kind of like the chunkiness of it, but it might be just a little bit too white, but then I can always add to it, right? So I think we might leave it. I think we'll just leave it at that, and then we'll worry about the rest later. Yeah, so that's basically your cover. You can cover it up. You can paint it, you can collage on it. I might just put it together and then we'll see what we can do with it. So let's keep it plain for now. Measurements and I, we really are not the best of friends, so we tend to ignore each other as much as possible. So I pseudo measure like most of us crafters do, but in this case it's just, you know, it's for fun. It's for my own amusement basically. So all I'm going to do is I am just going to, now these are going to be too long, so I will have to cut some of it off. I can be deliberate about this and really, you know, go through each piece and see how I would like it to be, you know, like if I don't want to cut off certain parts or whatever, or I can just leave it as is. I think all I'm going to do is I am going to make sure that I have some space there, and then I'm going to grab my ruler, a shorter one preferably, and then we are going to just tear it instead of cutting it. I'm not even going to worry too much about, you know, evenness or anything like that. So I'm just want to make sure that I'm inside my cover, and I'm just going to tear pieces. Just keep on going. Should be able to tear through it fairly easily. Mine just got acrylic paint on it, so it's going to be a bit more difficult. But I kind of like the unfinished, ripped edge that it gives, because it's just supposed to be for fun. So I'm just going to do the same. You could lay another one on top, but I'm not worried about it. These are great little strips for collaging, obviously. Waste not, want not. So we'll set that aside. We'll do some of the torn edges this way and some of it the other way. We could do it, you know, something like that kind of thing. If that bothers you, you can cut them with the cutter, obviously. But I am not concerned. So now it fits nicely inside. We're going to set that aside for now. We're just going to create some space. I've been kind of busy making different things in the studio, so hence the paper. So, you know, just doing different things. I'm getting more into abstract, which I'm really enjoying. So, which is kind of nice. if you don't have a bone folder, just go like that. It's fine. It's not going to matter overly much. I kind of like the chunkier look of these journals anyway, because it's supposed to be just experimental and fun, right? That's how I view it anyway. But you can see it's still a good sized page, right? So when you go to put them in there, and we can trim this if we want to. Am I folding the wrong way? Yes, I am folding the wrong way. That's why. It's like, wait, I measured it. It's supposed to go this way, hot dog style, not hamburger style. All right. See, that's what you get when you get distracted. So now we have the right way. Okay, there we go. There. Catch on sooner or later, you know. Sometimes you don't know what it is exactly that you're doing wrong until you realize it's like, oh, right. Okay, well now I understand. So let's fold them this way. And yeah, if you want to fast forward through this, by all means do so. You know, if you want to fast forward to how I make the thing. I mean, most of us know how to make these by now anyway, but if you're a newbie and you don't know, there's lots of tutorials out there on these kinds of things. So, you know, there's so many different ways to make a book, to make an art journal, to make anything really. I mean, gotta love YouTube for that. You know, you get all these interesting ideas from other artists and crafters and whatnot else. And creating something out of packaging and out of things that normally would not be used for anything but throwing out. You know, this is a good way to reuse and recycle some of that paper that we have out there. That's one thing I like about doing jelly prints, even though I'm using, I mean, you don't have to use copy paper, obviously. You could just use packaging paper and whatnot else. You know, recycle your papers, you know, your junk mail. You can jelly print right over top of that, which would be really nice. I think I might do that. I have a bunch of envelopes that I've been saving. I want to jelly print over top of those and then make an art journal out of that. I think that would be kind of cool. I've seen junk journals made out of envelopes, which is really neat. But, you know, you got to use more paper for that. So I kind of like the idea of using the paper and printing right on top of it and doing something fun with it. So, but now when you look at these, you know, it has a slightly different feel to it. It looks, because it's in a smaller, you know, normally when you look at these, they're a lot bigger, right? So when it's a smaller size, you have a more interesting view, let's say. You know, when you frame something large and you frame something very particular in a painting, you get more of an interesting view, I think, anyway. So all we're going to do is line them up. So like I said, some rough edges at the top, some rough edges at the bottom. You can do it all one side if that's how you choose to do it. Just line them all up. Now you could color coordinate these if that's how you choose to do this, but I kind of like the idea of just randomly putting them all in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I think 10 per signature is actually not too bad. And again, you can color coordinate these as much as you want. You know, if you're doing a spring one or a fall one, or, you know, whatever. It'd be kind of cool. You could really do color theory that way. It's a good way to sort of practice different combinations. You know, Pinterest is always a great inspiration board because, you know, they do the Pantone colors of the year or whatever. And you can really go in depth and explore different concepts that way, which is kind of neat. I have no idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know. Trying to make them even, whether or not that's how it ends up is a different story. I could have an uneven number of signature pieces anyway. But this way, when you create your own little art journal like this, you know, with your own jelly prints, because you don't really know what to do with all of it for the most part, right? This way you get to sort of customize it for yourself. So we still have room for more signatures, which is, you know, if that's how we want to do it. I kind of like the idea of it being so nice and chunky. See how cool that is? So when you start filling it up, it's going to be like a rectangular block of paper and yummy goodness that you can play with. So again, I could add to it if I want to, which I might do that regardless. So what we're going to do is we could probably fit like 5 signatures in here. I wouldn't want to do any more than that because then you don't have room to expand. Because these are quite narrow, I want to be able to make sure that we can use it properly. All right, so that is good enough for me. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew these together. And I'm just using some waxed linen cord. You could use string, you could use twine, whatever you feel like doing. I use this in jewelry quite often, so I have it on hand. I don't have anything else. I just buy a big roll of it at Michael's if you want to get white. I think they have white or a bunch of different colors, so you can do that too. You could do embroidery floss, but I find this is nice and strong, so we're going to use that. Usually 3 lengths. And we're just going to do the pamphlet stitch, okay? We're still going to decorate our thingamajig. Now you can make a stencil for this, or you know, some kind of way of marking them all equally. But all I do is connect them all together. Binder clips are really handy for this. You could use a paper clip, it doesn't matter. Half the binder clips usually handy. Okay. You could do them all together, and that's probably easiest, and then separate them, but because I've already separated them, I'm going to poke all my holes all together. Alright? So that's basically what I'm doing. If you have a crocodile, that would work too. But I do not have a crocodile, so I am just going to use my needle, or not my needle. Let's see. I do have a pokey tool. And you want it sort of large, right? So there's 1. 2. Let's try and keep them all together. And 3. There we go. Perfect. All right. So this way they're all going to be stitched in the same area. All right. 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Easy peasy. There's nothing too exciting over it. Again, there's lots of tutorials on this, but so if you wanted to sort of make out, you know, the 2 closer together can be your top, and then the further away, it doesn't matter. But you just go through the center, and this is a little bit finicky, okay? We're going to keep a little tail through the back. If you had a crocodile, it would make lots of nice, neat holes. I do not have a crocodile, but that's okay. You can just use your pokey tool. it works just as well. And then through the center again. And through the back. And then, did I do that right? No, I did not. Haha. If you didn't do it right, undo it. Interesting. Not sure where I went wrong on that one. But that's what you get, right? Maybe it has to go through the top. We'll get this. This is what I mean when you try to do things on the fly, you know. It doesn't always work out the way you want it to, but that is okay. So let's go through the top. We're gonna go all the way. There we go. There, that's the way to do it. It's been a while since I've done a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, so there we go. So you want to make sure the bridge one is in the center, and then you're going to tie it off, right? Snug, but not too tight so that you rip your paper. Okay, just cut that nice and short. Done and done. Okay. Now, I kind of like the unevenness of this. If that bothers you, you can trim it all and whatnot else. But what I'm going to do is I am going to attach it to my little folder in a different way. So if you didn't want to do another whole stitching, like if you didn't want to do it onto your board, because I haven't finished mine yet, I'm going to put all these together separately, and then I will put them in my folder later, or my cover rather. If that makes any sense. Probably not. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll attach it to the cover right away, which is fine. You could do it that way. You could do journal style, and then you can figure out from there how you want to attach it. Now, I have done it in the past where I've just attached it straight to the cover, but because I haven't done anything with my cover yet, and I don't want to lose my papers, I am going to do it the other way around. That's what you get for not thinking ahead, right? So you want it snug, but not tight. Okay? Now these extra pieces of string you can save for later. Don't throw them out, because you never know. You don't want too thick a knot in the center, because otherwise then your book won't close properly. Okay, because what we can do is we can attach these to a separate piece, which you can then attach. There's so many different ways to do this. You do it any which way you want to, whatever works for you. And where did my needle go? There it is. That's what you get when you have a lot of stuff on your desk. After a while you lose things, and it's like, okay, where did everything go? I just had it. There we go. Okay, and then back through the center again. One on one side, the other one on the other side. There we go. So snug, but not too tight. Okay, so now we have our little booklets. When we have room to grow, if we wanted to make more, we absolutely could. But I kind of like having it like this. And then what you can do, you could spread them out if you didn't want to do more. Actually, I might do that because then I have lots of room to fill up my pages. So maybe 3 signatures is fine. So let's do something with this. So I've been saving this piece for a while and I love it, and it almost fits. Oh, look at that. Yes, that's actually pretty good. So we might just do that. We could use a glue stick, we could use Mod Podge, we could use whatever. Double-sided tape if you have it. Whatever works for you. You could even use fabric if you had that. That'd be kind of cool. You know, if you did your own fabric printing or silk screen or something like that, that'd be kind of cool. More or less straight. And we could choose whichever one we want the front to be, you know, depending on how busy you want it to look. But I'm just trying to use up my papers. Let's cut this edge a little bit nicer. Okay, we could use that too. Now, I tend to not cut my little corners like this. I just go like that. I don't know why. I find it easier for me to do it that way. But you do your corners however which way you like. Whatever works for you. Okay. Oops, we're running out of glue. Oh well. You can do the inside any which way you like. You can, you know, paint it, decoupage it, whatever you feel like doing. Oh, that's one there too. But all I want to do is just make a quick little cover. Nothing too spectacular. You know, this way we're using up the paper that we made. Or I made. I'm sure we all have a bunch of stuff lying around that we could use. Well, let's put it to use. Oh, that's not glued down. There we go. So you just train your paper to go in there nicely. Make sure it actually folds nicely. Okay, so that is basically our book. So we could do this as the front, and then this is the back, or we could do it like that. I don't know which one I like it, which way I like it better. She is chunky though. She's gonna be a big girl. That'd be kind of cool too. So when it sits on the shelf, I think I kind of like it that way. So I might just keep this as the front. Okay, so instead of doing a whole measuring thing and yada yada yada, I find sometimes the easiest way to do these things is just, you know, go with the flow kind of thing. So what we can do is we can do our grommets, because I do want it to last. I do need it to sort of keep in one shape, you know. I don't want it falling apart on me. So I think we are going to do some grommets here. All right. So I've got 3, so I'm going to do 3. So I'll just do center first. Not too far down. And then I don't really measure. Just eyeball it. It's fine. If you have a crocodile, that works. If you have a leather punch, that works too. You can still, if you have a grommet setter from Making Memories, I think they had a grommet setter or whatever, you can do that. If you don't have elastic, then just use string. You can still use the string for this. It doesn't have to be elastic, okay? So you can just make it so that it holds in, and that's all you need to do. But then you can remove it if you want to, regardless, right? So if you want to work on it, you absolutely could. Because you can take each signature out nice and neatly, and then you can work on it and then put it back in. Just like any kind of journal that you make. Now you could punch a hole in the center and make a closure, or you could just use, oh, whatever you feel like. But if you don't have the crocodile thingy, you could just use a setting tool. Okay, so I just need something that makes a hole. And this one will do. So all we're going to do is eyeball it, just sort of where we want it. Not too concerned, excuse me, of to where center-ish. That's my goal. All right, let's see. Can we punch you out? Are you done? Yes, there we go. Those pokey tools come in handy. Make you large enough? Yes, there we go. That'll be perfect. Now get the other part on there to flatten that out. There. Just make sure it's nice and more or less smooth. There we go. There. So basic journal, right? So I do have a video on how to make your own journal out of a placemat, a journal cover for from a placemat, okay? So there's a video out on that. So if you wanted to get a better look at how to do this, It's very simple, as I've just proven. So within minutes, you can make a journal cover. Oh my goodness. Okay, so there we go. So now you can string these up individually. You can do whatever you feel like. However, if you use elastic, you could do it one piece, or you could just use twine, string. The same thing as before. You could, let's see, what do I need? Should we use string or ribbon? Oh, I think ribbon would be pretty. Maybe not practical. Maybe that's the problem. It's not very practical to have ribbon. All right. I think we'll have to do it the other way. Not very practical, I know. But these elastics, I just got mine at the dollar store. I love the colors, so it's kind of nice. Let's see if I remember how to do this, because it has been a while. So through the centers, or through the outside, right? And there we again. And this one you feed through the same hole as this one. And sometimes you need a little extra help. You can use the blunt end of your needle to push it through. Okay, don't poke yourself. There we go. Through the other end. I went wrong somewhere again because it's been a while. I did do this one wrong too. Maybe I should have reviewed my yeah, I did do that wrong. Alrighty. Let's try that again, shall we? Anyway, if you didn't want to fiddle with any of this, and you don't want to make a cover like this, you most certainly do not have to. Because what you can do is you can absolutely get away with just doing a folder. Okay? You do not have to do any of these things. All I'm doing is showing you. You could do an extra elastic here. Where's my needle? Now, most of this is off camera. I am so sorry. But you can just do 3 holes, okay? Oops. There we go. Right, and then just tie it in the center. So if, well, we did it completely wrong because we don't want our stuff on the outside. Duh. We want it on the inside. See what I mean? Alrighty. We want our strings on the inside. Not on the outside, Sasha. Come on now. Work with me. Alright. I'm telling you, some days I wonder how I get out of bed. I really do. Okay. So we feed this through. We could do it from this one, that's fine. Oh, some days, I'm telling you. Yesterday was a really good painting day. Do you ever get that? It's like, yesterday was a really good painting day, and I had a lot of fun. I got a lot accomplished. But, you know, today, it just seems like I can't even tie my own shoes. It just seems really off, you know? Some days are really good, other days not so much. So I don't know what's going on with me. But let's feed you back through. So, you know, no, not you. You. See what I mean? It is the weirdest thing. Like I said, I haven't looked at my own video in a while. I haven't made one of these in ages. And I had thought that I wasn't going to do it this way because I really wanted to showcase, you know, a fuller kind of look for this. I didn't want it to be this way. Okay. After all that, now let's make this a little bit less obvious that we have too much. The beauty of elastic is a lot more adjustable. Okay, let's see, where did we go? Oh my gravy, I'm telling you, some days, that's just the way it is. Okay, quit faffing about. Let's just tie this off. Snug, but not tight, right? Okay. My goodness gracious, I'm telling you. Ugh. All right. We're going to just make our little cover elastic. All right. I'm going to send it through here for closure. All right. Again, we can trim this. It's a lot to deal with. Alrighty. See, we did it eventually. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you, some days. Okay. So this is the other reasons why we cut this a little bit on the smaller side so we can actually fit it in there nicely. Okay. And we have room for an extra one if we choose to do so, which is kind of nice. So room for growth is always a good thing. But this way you can take them out individually and you can work on them, okay? Come on, come here. Or you can make a little folder for the front and you can hold some if you want. All right. But there we have our chunky book. And yes, this is a little bit big, but don't forget this is going to grow, right? So we want to be able to have that space to grow. And, you know, if this bothers you, it doesn't bother me, but if it bothers you, obviously you can trim that. Okay. Oh my goodness. That took me 40 minutes? Jeepers creepers. That's a long time. I should know better. Regardless, we've made our little book, okay? Our art journal. So, now all these extra little pieces that we have left over, we can start using in a lot of this. So if you wanted to clip these onto here, you know, onto your little book, you could do that so that you can keep them together, which is kind of nice. So, and then you have them all together, okay? You could use a paper clip, it doesn't matter. Whatever you choose to use, as long as you keep them together so you can use them up, all right? Or you could just stick them in there, or you can make a little pocket here. Choose whatever you want to do. So that is that way. Oh my gravy. That took forever. Oh my. Okay. So how else can we make a booklet? So let's see. if you wanted to make another one, let's see. So this is more packaging. So let's trim this and let's see. And if you don't want to faff about with all the other things and you just wanted to keep it simple, okay? So let's cut this up. You could use a trimmer, that's fine. I'm not going to, I'm not overly concerned because I'm not selling any of this, so this is not something, you know, I'm not giving it as a gift. This is something I'm keeping for myself. Okay, so what we're doing is we're basically creating like a folder, okay? So packaging is the perfect thing for that because it's already scored. We don't have to worry about it. And we can even make a flap if we want to, okay? So this already lends itself to a flap. So we could, this is perforated. Of course it doesn't want to tear off, but that's okay. Maybe we'll take scissors to it. Okay, so we could do it that way, all right? So basically we already have a folder and we could just do it that way, okay? Because now when you have your sheets, you could use this for loose leaf sheets, okay? Which would be perfect for, you know, if you are making your own little book pages, trim pieces. Of course, I don't have any here. So let's say, so this is some coffee dyed paper, right? So your pages would have to be about the size of wherever your flap is, okay? So whatever the packaging that you have, that'll be your size restriction, right? So let's say I have this, I have some paper that I made myself, you know, I did my own colors on it, and I want to use these eventually, but I don't want to store them all loosely. So what you can do is you can create, so this is the simplest way that I know of, okay? So I am going to cut a little corner off each side here where it meets, okay? So you make these little divots, right? You could use a rubber band for this. Rubber bands, they tend to break down over time. That's the only downfall. You can use string if you want, but if you don't care if rubber bands break apart on you, it doesn't matter. But you could use string because you can expand it as you go. All right, you could use ribbon if you want it, okay? But all you're doing is basically creating a catch for your papers, okay? So you could go more snug than that, that's fine. But all you're doing is creating a folder so that it doesn't fall out on you. And you can attach this to here if you want, or you can, you know, find a way to attach it. But then what you can do is you can either use a brad or a grommet. Let's see, let's use a brad today. So again, you would decorate this and, you know, cover it up, whatever else. But then you would just create a little folder, basically. All right. Can you see that? So all we're doing is we're just creating a little, again, you could use a larger brad. That would probably work quite nicely. But then you can add your string to it. If you made the string longer, or if it was an elastic, you could hook it around there, or you could just create something from your cord, okay? Or you could use your smaller piece and you could put another little grommet or your brad. That's the word I'm looking for. So you can just put one sort of over here. I don't know if it'll push through. No, it won't. Hold on. There we go. Something sharp always works. Now you can cover this up with some tape so you're not ruining your papers on the inside, okay? But now you can close it. So all I do is just create a little loop. And this would probably work better if you had a, you know, one of those little paper round thingies. Actually, let's do that while we're here. Just use the packaging, you know, whatever you cut off. You can always use whatever, but, you know, it's a pretty lavender color, why not? If my punch will go through it. Wow, that is thick paper. There we go. That should do it, actually, because that is quite thick. Definitely have to punch some holes in that. Okay. This is not going to hold very much if we can't close it properly. There we go. I like to sort of fold mine a little bit so that I can actually, you know, make it look like it's been around for a while. There. That's going to drive me crazy. Let's see if this will go through. There we go. And if that's too close, well, it's not horrible. You could always just do a flap like that. That would probably hold it nicely too. So if you wanted to do it that way. But let's move this up a bit maybe. Just enough to cover that. Poke yourself. There we go. So we have the string. Let's try this again, shall we? So all we're going to do is we're going to tie it. That's it. And then we can use it to wrap around the one below and close it up so that you keep your papers nice and contained for later use, right? Oh my goodness, too much junk. Well, not junk, just busy stuff. Okay, so here we have an issue, obviously. So we can trim this. Everything is fixable. So we can trim that. All right. So we can go like that. And then just there. Okay. Paint this, decoupage it, whatever you feel like. This string in the center, you can make it so that it holds elastic instead. Whatever you choose to use. But a lot of it, it is all about whatever the size of your paper is. So, and since I tend to do most of my jelly prints on my 5x7 plate, because that's the only one I have, then that is what I would make it for. Okay, so here I did some jelly printing on book pages, so if that fits, then why not? So just fold it in half, more or less, and this way you get to keep them all together. You could do projects like this, so if you have certain colors that you wanted to keep in mind for this, you could absolutely do that. So these are good ways to create a little project pouch so that you can work on different things, you know, So if you wanted to do book pages only, or different project like Christmas, or you know, maybe you want to do a study in black and white or in brown tones, ink, whatever the case may be, this is a good way to do that. Okay, now what you can do is you can just do a bow with this, okay, or you could tape this and then decoupage over top of it, and then you have that nicely underneath there, but when you go to close it, you have it all nicely contained. So it's two different ways to create for your little projects that you're doing. Okay, so this one, your typical journal style, okay, with signatures, or a folder style, which, you know, for different projects, it's quick, simple. You get to use up some packaging. You could use cardboard for this. You could do, you know, file folders. Just cut them in half if you want to, or you wanted to keep this size, but you don't want everything falling out. You could create pockets, or you could do the elastic or the string. It doesn't matter. So there's a couple of different ways you can do it so that you can keep your things contained instead of, you know, taking up your whole studio. So I hope this wasn't too long-winded. And yeah, it was probably frustrating for both of us, but we got there in the end, so that's not so bad. Again, you know, different sizes. Let your packaging rule and see what you can come up with storage ways, storage solutions, rather. Anyway, enough rambling. I'm sorry. It's been a day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.